In Atlantic City, New Jersey, there's Chicken Bone Beach. And in the Yates Township of Michigan, there's Idlewild. And on the island of Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts, there's Oak Bluffs. Summer vacation spots, highly frequented by a plethora of Black families and individuals during the era of Jim Crow and segregation. This is a narrative understandably not often broadcast as racial terror and stifling systemic barriers were at the forefront. There is only one thing to say. Grief and joy can coexist. An understated impetus of African American survival. The first enslaved people arrived in 1619, marking the beginning of the institution of slavery within the new colony, which would soon become the United States of America in 1776. The institution of slavery came to a close after the Civil War and the passage of the 13th Amendment in 1865. But African Americans did not gain the right to citizenship until 1868, due to the passage of the 14th Amendment. Even though granted citizenship, African Americans were subjected to Jim Crow laws, which were stringent statutes on the state and local level that legalized segregation, discrimination, and political strife against them. But knowing this, throughout it all, many Black families were free and born into freedom long before all of this. Debutante ball, cotillion. All things that might conjure up a specific image in one's mind. Maybe like Shonda Rhimes' hit show on Netflix, Bridgerton. And that's perfect. Because in 1780, King George started Queen Charlotte's Ball, aptly named for his wife, Queen Charlotte. At this ball, families of great power, wealth, and noble status would find a match for their daughters, someone suitable that would amplify the power of both families. This eventually would trickle into the British Empire and its colonies, much like it did in the United States. So here we have it. Families in America that didn't have titles, but socioeconomic status was just as important. Debutante balls didn't find their way to the States until 1870. This was the Gilded Age. Wealthy families needed matches to amplify that same power and wealth they had. Debutante balls were a way to introduce their daughter to society, to show that they were mature and ready for marriage. And much like history in general, debutante balls went through a transitional period. The transitional period of debutante balls and cotillions is exemplified in Gossip Girl and Gilmore Girls. Both of those characters come from wealth, and they're participating in this event just because of the symbolism.
Serena Celia Vanderwoodson, daughter of committee member Lillian Vanderwoodson, granddaughter of Chairwoman Emeritus Celia Catherine Rhodes, escorted by Carter Bazin. Miss Vanderwoodson hopes to bed as many billionaires as she can before settling down to... Oh my God.
Hey, just wanted to see you before you became a proper lady of society.
So what do you think?
I think you look like a cotton ball.
Why, thank you, Jeeves.
But a really cute cotton ball.
In the fictional media we consume, deb balls and cotillions are viewed through the eyes of white society. This next character, Belly, is of Asian descent, and she takes on the same frivolous ideals of it's not a big deal, but it's unfamiliar to her, so she wants to participate.
Oh my God. Belly is gonna be a debutante.
It's really not that big of a deal.
I'm sorry, like Billy, like my sister, like that thing, right there.
Shut up, cretin.
But in the rare case we see it through the eyes of Black characters, something's different.
Kia Williams, escort Jordan Baker.
Thanks for showing up.
Was there ever any doubt?
Honestly, yeah. But I know how much your sister appreciates it.
And you?
I appreciate you practicing in your room all night.
Olivia told you about that.
Wanting to showcase civility and shed the labels of property and savage that whites had affixed to their entire race, the emergence of the debutante ball amongst the black upper middle class aimed to remedy that. Jerry Major, a black journalist, she wrote about all things black society. At one point, she was known as the most well-known black woman in America. She documented their lives through what they did. And through all that they did, their wealth was at the forefront. No, they weren't excluded from facing racism. But, as I mentioned earlier, joy and grief can coexist. So within this black society, we see that debutante balls had more meaning. They had a lot riding on these dead balls. It wasn't just for their own black society, it was to show white society that black people could be this glamorous and civilized.